Well, obviously, everybody kind of knows what an elevator pitch is, but I happen to like this quotation from Robert Pagliarini. He says that it's concise, carefully planned, well-practiced description about your company. We're going to replace that word with art, okay? So this is something mom needs to be able to understand in the time it would take to ride up an elevator, which varies, obviously. But we think 30 seconds to a minute. Sometimes it can go as long as a minute and a half, but if it goes too long, what happens? Sorry, I'm busy. I gotta go. I really don't have time to listen to this, okay? So you gotta be able to get right to it, make sure they know your name, some way to remember your name, some way to associate you, that you're an artist, because your card is gonna help them. It's gonna say you're an artist on there, but they need to make some recollection of you to associate you with that card. Even if you get some art on your card, even if you get your name, even if you say what kind of, if I'm a plein air artist, great, but why would they keep remembering who you are on that card? Because they made a connection with you in the video. There was something there, something in the writing, something in what you said or the way you said it, that stands out. Why do we write it down? Anybody know? What's going to happen when you get in front of a video camera and you have not written this down? You're going to forget it. What else? You're going to get nervous. You're going to stumble over your words. We're going to use a basic template. It's going to keep it. Some people say KISS stands for something else, but I like to think it means keep it short and simple, straightforward, basic, okay? In layman's terms, in your voice, in how you would explain it to somebody. We're going to be using a teleprompter, and it's basically a computer, and it allows you to look right into a camera, so you're looking right at your audience, right in the eye, and reading off. And usually people get it memorized, because James will have you do it several times, looking for the best presentation, the best phraseology. And you'll get through there and you go, oh, I missed that word. It's okay, let's do it again, okay? We want it to look good. The written work is going to ensure that it's exactly the right words. You're going to be doing some wordsmithing. You want it to be exactly what you want to say, not close to what you want to say or off in left field someplace, talking about why you started doing something because of your mother. You know, you want it to be the right story, okay? No risk of rambling. And the teleprompter is going to help you get the words right. So even if you're nervous, and there are a lot of people, they go, and you can hear it in their voice, they forget to smile, they don't have a smile in their eyes. And that's the thing about video. And of course, we're all worried about what do we look like on video. All right, I already weigh 200 pounds, I'm gonna look 240, you know. Can't worry about that. You can't worry about that. You're just gonna be looking right at it, talking to a person behind a camera there, okay? But it's gonna be preserved at its best. And since we're in a Unitarian church today, I thought we would talk about know thyself and thy creations. You need to know who you are. And a lot of artists do that. You know, I was just this morning thinking of that Mama Cass song. And there's the little line in there that says, being yourself is the hardest thing to be. Fortunately, with artists, that doesn't always stand true. That's why I like to be around artists. They do tend to know themselves. They do tend to know. They're expressing through art who they are, who they're feeling, what's happening in their life, what's happening in the world, what divine inspiration is coming to them. And you want to know why you express yourself creatively this way. Many people are discouraged from it early on. They're told as children, you can't draw, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then sometimes later on in life, they discover, you know, I really can do this. I really can take this thing that I see and use my hands and make it. I can do this. And that's a wonderful feeling. And know the kind of art that you do create, focusing in on something that sells. And we all want to be out there doing all kinds of things. Sometimes there's something that just fits and you're particularly good at it and it tends to sell. So focus on that. Do your other things in your private time. But because you're a selling artist, you want to make sure that the things you're making are going to sell, you know. Especially if you get commissions, of course. You're trying to satisfy somebody. There's always that kind of, where do I leave off and the customer comes in? And I'm sure that's a big issue for a lot of people. But what do you create and why do you do it? What are your influences? People are always interested in this. And you may want to talk about how you feel about your work. You don't want to get so into it that you turn people off, but you do want to give them an idea of how you feel about it, why this was an important piece for you. People are interested in that. It's the story behind the art that makes the art live, makes it valuable to people. And how do you value your work? And that's, obviously there's the cost of your time, there's the cost of the materials that go into it. We have an artist today who's a bronze, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how expensive, one of the more expensive arts you can create. I'm going, what do you do, go out and get pennies? Do you have to go to the junkyard? Where do you get all this stuff? So that's fascinating just to me. So today we're gonna write about our art. You wanna write more or less the way you would talk because you are talking. You don't wanna use too much colloquialism, of course. You do want to get across your message. You want to be positive and self-assured. Be honest and trust your audience. Your audience knows when they're seeing something false. You see it in the eyes. The eyes aren't happy. The eyes are looking off to the left or right. There's something there. You can see it right away. And you see it in video because it's preserved in video. So you got to be comfortable enough, be honest with your audience. And trust your audience. They're going to be appreciative. They're going to watch that and go, wow, that's interesting. How do they do that? Well, I just can't imagine being able to take an idea in my head and put it on canvas, or take an idea and make a wax sculpture and fill it with a bunch of bronze and make this cool thing. You know? People are always impressed by artistry. Always. Just be real positive, use your good grammar, no bad language, share the excitement that you feel about your own work. And we're just going to have a little template that you use. Now you don't have to stick strictly to the template. You're going to have your own style. And we're going to work around that and make it work, and get it all into the little teleprompter computer that we've got. You want to greet people. Make sure they know who you are and the way you want them to know you, okay? That's really, really important. So if your name is Joe Schmo, but you normally go by Alastair or something like that, you want to make sure they know I'm Alastair, not I'm Joe Schmo, okay? So use what people associate you with your art and the way you want them to associate you with your art, okay? So we want to make sure they know, so that they will always know that art. They will know that style, they will know that person. That's the name they use. Give some idea about your art, how you make it. You know, if you make your own paints, if you dye your own fabrics, you know, whatever you do, how do you make that art? Where do you get the things that go into your art? Let us know who you are and who your influences are. That's just kind of fun to know. Again, it's the backstory behind you and behind your art. And if you can, and this is a difficult thing, to what does your art relate? You know, you could be a person who is working through some horrific experiences as a child, or you could be a person who has studied something at great depth, and this is where your art is coming from. Okay, especially if you're doing series, people are very fascinated by that in a series. I've seen examples of people who have taken something, a tree for instance, and they've explored it. They've explored everything from drawing pen and pencil to doing inks to doing, so the same tree or the same location, the same thing over and over again, and they've just ridden it out and felt it and expressed it in every way that they possibly can. And then finally, talk about what you're working on presently, if there's a series, if there's a particular style of art that you're trying to explore and trying to create a lot of pieces regarding to. All right. right, and clarify how they can contact you. Contact is the most important thing, right? Where can I find you? You know, you can't be hidden up in the Appalachians someplace. You may go up there and produce, but eventually you have to come down out of the mountain and you have to do the nuts and bolts part, which is promoting, so that you can sell. Okay. The writer's statement is something that most people find difficult. And you don't have to write this down. You can have these things in your head. But when you've written something, you must have, and you always do have, questions. Have I conveyed this well? Does this sound too negative? And we have here's all the little examples. Is this the right word? Am I getting across this idea? Do you think I should mention this? Does this quotation? Some people have favorite quotations. They love Shakespeare or whatever, and they want to throw a quotation in there. Are there any grammatical errors? We don't want to make those. And then we're going to finalize. You may definitely want to read it aloud or have someone read it to you. So you're either the reader or the listener, but you always want to be listening to what you've written. It has to be short. Is everything coming across right? Is this how you want to present yourself? When you hear it, does it make sense? Is it logical? Or have you left something very important out? And that does happen sometimes. People will finish writing and they're going, and I'm going, I don't see your name anywhere in here. Oh dear. And when you read it aloud, you hear that. I remember one time somebody had left out an important phone number. And we get to the end and I said, how are they gonna call you? Oh my gosh, yeah, we gotta have that in there. So it's easy to leave little things out, but we're not gonna let you do that. We're gonna make sure you've got all your contact information in there.
Hi, my name is Emily Budd, and I'm an artist who makes sculptures out of bronze. I use an ancient process of bronze casting to make my work, but I take a modern approach to this traditional material by creating new and abstract forms. I prefer bronze as a medium of artistic expression because it beautifully captures texture and has long-lasting durability. My work is inspired by nature and built using natural objects and familiar textures collected from the environment. I make duplicates and patterns with these objects and then develop visual narratives as I sculpt. The finished work speaks to how we as people identify and relate to our surroundings. Right now, I'm working on a new series of sculptures that includes larger forms. You can view my work at emilybudsculptures.com or follow me on Twitter at Emily Marie Budd to see works in progress and keep up with news and information about upcoming exhibits.
At last, my love has come along. My lonely days are over, and life is like a song. Hi, I'm Kimberly Crowder. I sing professionally everything from opera to jazz and have been singing since I was a kid. I perform in choral, theater arts, and solo shows. I am also a background vocalist and songwriter. Singing is who I am, and performing music is what makes me feel alive. My work is influenced by artists like Miles Davis and Sarah Vaughan, rock and pop giants like Sting and Prince, and soulful singers such as Melissa Etheridge and Donny Hathaway. I love the storytelling and emotional journey on which music allows me to take both myself and my audience on. I can connect to the deepest part of someone note by note. And I'm currently auditioning in the Midwest for musical theater and performing in local venues, but I am open to travel for short or long-run performances. Check me out on YouTube by searching for Kimberly Crowder, or if you want to know what I'm up to day by day, follow me on Instagram at Kimberly_Crowder or on Facebook at Kimberly Crowder. I'd love to keep in touch with you and hope you'd like to keep in touch with me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mark Dillman. I've been a fine artist and portrait painter for more than 30 years. I've painted the portraits of many leaders in the fields of business, education, and government. My official portraits of Governor Joseph E. Kernan and Chief Justice Randall T. Shepard are on permanent display at the Indiana State House. I've established a reputation for painting lifelike oil portraits that capture the character and integrity of my subjects. I offer a unique blend of realism and artistry that draws from my lifelong study of classical and contemporary portraiture. In addition to corporate and official portraits, I also offer family and casual portraiture, where sometimes a more painterly approach is desired. For contact information and to see more examples of my work, please visit me online at markdillman.com. I look forward to working with you and creating an outstanding one-of-a-kind portrait that will endure the test of time.